in here. We have a smaller crowd today, but honestly, I really like it because then I get to say hi to everyone. To start things off, could we have Fred come on up here? Fred told me he is leaving early from the meeting, and when he leaves, it's not because of me, it's because he has to go.
To the bathroom also. So, in the spring of 1971, I was down in Pensacola, Florida, going through aviation officer candidate school, and 48 of us started on a Sunday afternoon, and by Wednesday morning, we were down to 26, and only 12 of us graduated. And I believe the difference was attitude. So this is from Charles Swindoll. Sorry. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, even a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can play is the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of what we make of that. So, as with all of us, we are in charge of our attitudes. Thank you.
Pledge. How about the pledge?
I gotta get a better attitude about the pledge. Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wasn't good enough. That's your job. Okay, Sue Ryan, where are you at? Come on up. Sue is going to introduce our visiting Rotarians, if we have any, and our guests of Rotarians.
Well, Doug and Pat tell me that no visiting Rotarians checked in at the front table, but I want to ask one more time, did anyone sneak by them? Oh, right here, okay. Would you like to stand up and introduce yourself, please? Here.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the mic later, so I'll be short. I'm Annie Rodriguez, and I'm a Rotarian from Club 33.
Hi, Annie.
Welcome, and we look forward to hearing you talk today. Okay, guest of Rotarians. Who do we have? Right up here.
Thank you, President Natalie, and fellow Rotarians. My guest today is Kristen Farrell. President Natalie, fellow Rotarians, please meet my husband, Brian Cooper, very special guest, his second meeting.
President Natalie, fellow Rotarians, I would like to introduce my special guest, Liesl Schoppler, again.
President Natalie, fellow Rotarians, I have some guests to introduce. I almost forgot. Suzanne Manuel's guest, special guest, Sandy and Brian Blemcooler. And John Matthews' guest, Howard Herbert.
Great job.
Way to go, Carol. Okay, that's all the guests. Oh, way in the back, Pat has one. Oh, Charles.
We can't hear you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Sue. Okay, I did not get my red badger list, but I know there's some of you here. We had a couple that visited us at the board meeting last night, so thank you. Let's see, do we have any red badgers at this table? Wow, Bernice. right, perfect. Bernice, we're going to start with you, okay? I have a Red Badger question. You ready? I know you haven't been here for my questions yet. Bernice, what was the last TV show or movie you watched, and would you recommend it?
So I'm watching right now
The Gildian Age. Gilden Age.
Yeah, it's really good. Season 3, I totally recommend
I put this question up for personal reasons because I need some TV show recommendations, so thank you. Okay, Red Badger, Megan, what was the last TV show or movie you watched and would you recommend? Cue asking husband.
We just finished the Untamed series.
Untamed series, and would you recommend?
I would recommend it. It was an easy watch, and I kept watching it, which says a lot about me because I get bored in series, and I finished it. So,
Alright.
try.
I'll add it to the list. Kelly, was it the Taylor Swift Eras Tour documentary?
I do put that on after my shows. Like if I just have 20 minutes left, I'll watch just a little bit of it. But no, mine was also the Gilded Age.
And?
I just finished it. It was so good.
Okay, 2 votes for that.
What network?
JD. Yeah, what did you recently watch?
Again and again and again, Top Gun Maverick, but of course, highly recommended.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else? Are there any Red Badgers? Tom. Tom?
Netflix, it's called Titans. It just started last night. It was J.P. Morgan, and it was outstanding.
All right, Titans. All right, thank you guys all for those recommendations for myself and the club. Okay, 100 years. Oh, Carol, I'm so sorry. What did you watch?
I went to the show and I saw Chicago, and I really, if you haven't seen the movie or haven't seen the play, go back and watch the movie again. The music was spectacular, the story was fascinating, and I forgot how long ago. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else that I'm missing? Red Badgers. Did you guys all see at the beginning of the presentation I put everyone's photos up? Well, just new members. Some people are not happy with me about it, but we're going to keep it up there. Okay, 100 years ago, anyone who's visiting our Rotary Club of Coronado is celebrating 100 years of service of being around. So I'm trying to bring that into some trivia. This one's a stretch, like most of them. Exactly 100 years ago, in June of 1925, the Chrysler Corporation was founded. Chrysler would go on to become one of Detroit's big 3 automakers, competing head-to-head with Ford and General Motors. Now, Chrysler may have been the newcomer, but by 1925, Ford had already put the Model T on the road and was busy putting America on wheels. I don't know anyone who's a die-hard Chrysler person, but I do know someone who never misses the car show and is always seen driving his 1915 Ford Model T in the Christmas parade. He's also a very driven person who steers our club in the right direction. Does anyone have any guesses?
Jeff Tyler.
Jeff Tyler, come on up, Jeff. All right, this is not, I looked up the Ford Model T. This is not this, but it was $3 on Amazon. And it's a GT, Shelby GT 500. It's a car. You want to show us?
Let me see the car. Got it.
I'm only like 6 weeks in and I'm running out of ideas for these. Okay, so there was a lot going on the last couple weeks. There was a social at Rick's. We have some photos. Looks like Jeanmarie was celebrating a birthday. I asked Rick if there were any fun stories, and he said none that he wants me to share to the club. We also had a sort of last-minute flags on the avenue to welcome back the USS Carl Vinson. Doug, thank you so much for putting that together. I unfortunately did not know about it until I was driving to work that day. I know, and I hadn't been able to announce it. And speaking of ships, right now there is a Navy amphib warship that's been burning for a couple hours. It sounds like the fire is under control, but just please keep them in your hearts and check in with the news. And
Where?
it's in out of Japan. Yeah. What? No injuries, and it's contained, but they're still working on it. Okay, there's another picture from something that happened, and it's not Rotary. What?
Look at that picture.
Look at that picture. Does everyone see Carol up there with her name? Look, doing her flags on the avenue? Thank you, Carol.
Hosting.
And her hat. There was a get-together for the Coronado Hospital Foundation Social, which is not Rotary, but look at all those Rotarian women there. Yeah, we can still support. I don't know, where were the Rotarian men? At the bar. Oh, I'll get to the wine tasting committee meeting. There was also a wine tasting committee meeting the same day. Someone left a pretty appalling item there. Joe? Someone left this, and I'm not sure who it was. Would the owner of this eyesore like to come on up here? Anyone? Going? Oh! You'll take it?
Way to go, Pat.
What did you say? Well, how much is it worth to give back to Lisa?
Pretty valuable item.
Yeah.
I guess it's not.
That'll be at least
$2. 25? 50?
This is what happens to me with women.
It sure is. So was it 50? Was it $50? I did make some improvements on this photo, Joe.
Oh.
That's right.
I have rescued this from the dark forces.
It's Packer season, baby. Just kidding. It is football season in, what did you say, Matt? 2 weeks? And we're going to do a little something special. On September 3rd, mark your calendars, we're bringing Jersey Day back. All right? You don't have to do football. You can do baseball. You can do soccer. But if you want to avoid any ridicule or fines, you should probably wear green and gold for the Packers. Okay, I gotta get moving on here. Kathy, would you like to join me while I let everyone know what's going on? We have some upcoming events, and Kathy MacDonald is going to talk about tomorrow's.
Yes, thank you. Madam President. Okay, so tomorrow is the alternative meeting, and there's a lot of new members, maybe some prospective members, and I wanted to give you a little background about how that meeting got started. In 2017, they formed a growth membership subcommittee, and while brainstorming ways to both retain and recruit members, someone brought up the idea of having an alternative to the Wednesday meeting because a lot of people can't come during work hours. And Tom Mitchell and Robin McCarty ran with that, and they got this alternative meeting going, and the first meeting was April 10th, 2018, and it's been going strong ever since. And it was under the leadership of then President Ivan Dunn. Thank you for the backstory information, Ivan. Carol Young and I are the chairs, and there's a team of people who really make this happen, and I wanted to acknowledge them. I want to acknowledge Luann Miller and Rick Wilcoxon for bringing pizza and booze. That's important. Ronnie and Joe, of course, for AV. Doug and Sharon Raffer for checking people in. And where's Sarah? And Sarah for helping us get off the ground this year. We have some great speakers this year. We have a really good lineup. It's a super fun meeting, 5:30 to 7 at the Sharp Hospital Auditorium on Soledad Place. At $20 cash at the door. Tomorrow we have our very own Susie Owen doing a wine tasting and sharing her 36 years of experience in the industry, and she's going to tell us why Sauvignon Blanc is finally having its moment. So if you haven't signed up yet, we have limited space because the room will be set up very differently. At one point we had asked for you to bring your own wine glasses. You don't have to. We're, with the help, of course, of who other than Doug and Terry, the socialites. They had wine glasses aplenty. So we got wine glasses from them, but you will need your own glass for the other refreshments. I hope to see you. It's going to be really fun.
Thank you. I had a lot of announcements today, and so I've been trying to pull everyone else so you don't have to listen to me for 30 minutes. But I'm back. Concert in the Park is coming up. We are co-sponsoring with Mayor Duncan. It's going to be a great time. And then the next day, we're all going to get up and do Flags on the Avenue. It's going to be fun. And then our wine tasting event is very, very soon. We, when I wrote this, only had 20 tickets left, but I think it's more like 12 tickets left. So if you want to go or you want to bring one of your friends and have a good time, make sure to get them signed up soon. Okay, what I have next is a special treat. I had no Red Badgers who wanted to tell us about themselves, so I asked someone that has been around for a while to do who was, and still am I. Doug Weisbarth, everyone.
So, 86 years and 3 minutes. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, raised on a dairy farm, and I lived through a world war. I farmed with the horses, and I watched a man walk on the moon, so that's quite a stretch. Joined the Navy for 22 years, retired as the Master Chief Petty Officer. My main mission was finding submarines. I flew in airplanes and looked for them with the gear. I served in laboratories, which are called anti-submarine classification analysis centers, to analyze the sounds. We listened to the sounds. We didn't listen with our ears. We looked with our eyes because we had equipment that would print out. You can't really hear a 4-cycle sound, but you can see it on paper. After I retired, I came back to Coronado and became a handyman. And so first I worked with my father-in-law. We built a couple of houses over in Point Loma, and then when that market dried up, I became a handyman, and for 22 years I fixed things all over town. During that time, I was very active in the local Little League and soccer. At one point, I was the equipment manager for both Little League and soccer and uniforms, so everybody had to come to me to get their equipment, and it worked out well because I wouldn't give them their soccer gear until they turned in their Little League stuff. So. I was the first coach to coach a traveling team in soccer. I'm still eating my food here. I'm also the person that set all the bases and everything up at Tidelands when they built the park. They gave us the fields, but they didn't have bases or home plate, so we had to do that. My different things that I do right now, I'm very active in music. I have a band called the Rovers. We've been playing for about 12, 14 years. Every Sunday we play out on my front lawn. We started that during the pandemic and we just never quit. I have a home recording studio. I do a lot of recording of myself. I'm very active in genealogy. I was very active in sailboat racing for a number of years. And I've played my banjo in places here in Coronado, Dino's, the Manhattan Room, Mexican Village. This was years ago. After the theater, we'd all go down there, and when you walk into a bar at 10 o'clock carrying a banjo, you're immediately a hero, and you don't have to buy any drinks. I was very active in community theater, both here in Coronado Playhouse. I started a community theater in Natick, Alaska, and I was very active in Orange Park, Florida. My highlight, I guess, is I directed the musical "And Get Your Gun," and that was very, very much fun. I've been in Rotary since 1984. There's only 2 people who have been in our club longer than me. That would be David Anderson and Craig Clark. I've been Sergeant at Arms. I've been the chairman of the Flag Committee, chairman of the Rotarian of the Year Committee. And at one point, we did have a federation, a sailing federation that I was very involved in, and we set that up and used to have barbecues at the Yacht Club right here. And that's 86 years in 3 minutes.
He's right there.
Oh, yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we do another round of applause for Doug? He does so much in this club. And there's a few people that I constantly text to make sure things are okay and to check in with, and Doug is one of them. And he will tell me if it's not. Quick update from regarding Barrio Logan College Institute. This is from Janice Lowenberg. She has been orchestrating volunteer work and projects with BLCI for a couple years, and she wanted to be here to give this announcement, but here I am. Janice has arranged a tour of the Barrio Logan College Institute on September 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. I believe it's a Tuesday. This is at a time when students will be there for their after-school tutoring program. The tour will include a tour of the facility, information about the program, and visits to the classroom. They'll discuss additional ways our club can support this wonderful organization. Janice is organizing a list of Rotarians. She already has a couple that are going. So if you would like to attend, please contact her. I hope she's okay that I put her cell phone number on the screen because I don't know how else to get that information to you. If you're not familiar with BLCI, it's a non-profit organization that supports the pursuits of higher education for disadvantaged students from 3rd grade through college completion in the after-school setting. It is supported by our Rotary Club. We've been sponsoring them for years, and it supports students who are traditionally at risk in low-income communities in San Diego, and also works with their parents to create a culture where going to college is the norm. BLCI is located close by in Barrio Logan. It's the only after-school college prep program for 3rd to 12th graders in the San Diego region. And all BLCI students are the first generation of their families to attend college, and they have to actually apply for the program. So there's some really good opportunities. We have actually not been involved a whole ton the last year or two, but we're trying to ramp that up. So if you're interested in hearing more, text or call Janice. So I have a couple minutes, and I have a few announcements. One of them I'm going to do in a trivia manner. I don't know if everyone got these yet, but they're hot commodities. Rotary wristbands. Okay, so my first question. Who here knows the cost of our annual dues this year? Fred.
$330.
Nope.
$320.
That was Megan Keller, Red Badger. Who here knows how many of our members, as of last night, have not paid their dues? Yeah, a lot of people read my email, huh? I got a couple responses that said, OMG, I definitely did not pay my dues. So I'm guessing it's less than 70 now. We'll see. Who here can tell the 70 people how to pay their dues?
Online. You go to the button on the main page that takes you to the online PayPal.
Online website that is on our main page where it says pay dues. Sorry, Pat. This could get dangerous. What was my next one? Who here knows what happens if you pay and sign up for lunch, but then you can't make it?
You get a credit. You get a credit.
Sorry, this is whoever speaks first.
That would be me.
Who here knows how to join a committee?
Ask.
Ivan?
Ask. Ask. Go to the chairman of the committee and say, will you put me on your committee?
Yes, Doug?
I think the answer is
Yeah.
still while everybody else backs up.
Why the credits? The only person in our club that knows anything about the credits is me. In the book.
Go to Doug to talk about credits.
People come up and say they had credits, they don't. So I'm the only one, if you have a question, call me. And then you get, credits are automatic as far as if you don't show up and you pay, it goes in the book to have a credit. So you just register without paying, you come in, they give me money, you say I want to use one of my credits. If you have a credit there, we use it.
I told you, the guy that runs the meeting. These are all things that a lot of people said they did not know how to do on the survey. So I'm trying to address some of these things. Okay, last thing, reminder, it is membership month, and we recently changed some age tiers. So anyone who's under 30, they're only paying our RI and district dues, and then anyone under 40 gets $100 off, which is $265. So if you're talking to anyone and they say it's too expensive, I'm too young, use this to reel them in. Then we'll really get them. Okay, and last but not least, can I have all of these people please stand up? Sarah Stillman, Eric Trapp, Roger Clapp, Brett Bennett, Ginger Cox, Brittany Teeter, and Tom Edison. All of these people have birthdays this week. Mary, would you like to lead us in a happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, it took me 80 years to look this good, okay?
Look at it. We also have some membership big years. Shannon, did you know tomorrow is your 1 year as a Rotarian? I know. I didn't see Tom Mitchell here today. He's celebrating.
In Alaska.
Oh, well, in Alaska, he's celebrating 19 years in our club. Jacqueline Trapp, Eric Trapp, Sarah Sheverton are all celebrating 3 years next week. Sharon Raffer, is it Raffer? Right. 9 years on the 24th. And Ron Burnetti's not here, but he is celebrating 20 years in a couple days. So if you see him out and about. And then a couple anniversaries. JT, he celebrated a wedding anniversary.
Yes, I did. 39 years.
Marty Treat did too.
I did.
Yeah. Did you celebrate a wedding anniversary? And then Debbie's husband Bob wanted me to tell everyone that he and Debbie celebrated a lot of years together. And he wants to pay something towards that.
Bob says it's the best 100 years of his life.
Best 100 years of his life for $100. There it is. All right, and with that, we're going to get to what you guys are really here for as the speaker. Jeanmarie Bond, would you like to join me? Did you get a wristband yet?
I didn't.
Here you go.
Oh, good.
Apparently I thought I did and I didn't pay my dues, but you know. We are so grateful that Generate Hope in Coronado has agreed to partner with our club in providing the stunning venue for our annual wine event. Our speaker today is Annie Rodriguez, the president and CEO of that organization. She's a native of San Diego. She's very highly connected in our regional community and a longtime member of Rotary Club number 33. She holds a Master's of Social Work and a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from SDSU. She has 30 years of experience in the nonprofit sector with 25 years of leadership experience in various organizations. Early in her career, she worked as a therapist for foster youth who had been sexually exploited. That experience profoundly shaped her passion for helping vulnerable youth. She also worked for many years at the Neighborhood House Association, where she rose in her career to be the Vice President of Early Childhood Development. She's joined Generate Hope in 2019 and is here today to tell us more about their mission, their vision, and their work. So please welcome Annie Rodriguez.
everybody. I'm excited to see so many friendly faces. I had the opportunity to meet quite a few of you at the alternative meeting and was just felt so honored and humbled when President Natalie invited me to speak here to the larger group. So I'm grateful, excited that you guys will be having your wine event at the house. And yeah, just thrilled to share a little bit more. We really appreciate our partnership with you all over the years and just grateful to be here. So you guys are a fun group and Natalie's amazing. Our President Natalie, sorry. And so the energy when you're talking about sex trafficking can change a little bit in the room. And so just want to recognize that I don't want, and I aspire today, that you don't walk away feeling heavy by the subject, but that you feel inspired and hopeful by the fact that so many women's lives are being restored. So I say that because we're going to go into some serious stuff here, and just appreciate your support. So, the slide's good? I have my timekeeper over here. So let's just start with the problem we face today. And so the commercial sex trade just continues to thrive and grow. Pornography and the accessibility of it is really what is fueling it. And we've been increasingly desensitized to this at younger and younger ages. You can see it through advertising, you can see it through the mainstream way that OnlyFans page has been seen as kind of a lucrative way to make money. And so these trends have penetrated and reached into our schools, have impacted our faith communities, and of course have impacted businesses as well. And all of these factors are what's fueling the growing crisis of sex trafficking. So that's the reality. And then America's finest city is San Diego, and so we have a problem with this. San Diego has always, since I guess they started measuring it, but in the past 10 years has always been one of the hot spots for this sex trafficking and human trafficking. And really, the way that they articulate it is it's child sex trafficking that we have a problem in San Diego, and we're in the top 8 year after year. And many think that it's because of our proximity to the border, that this is because there's people being smuggled into the US, into San Diego, and being sold for labor and sex. And the reality is that that's such a small piece of why there's a problem here. Because 85% of victims are US citizens. And so these are our children, women and men. And so it is a factor, but to keep it just short and sweet, is the reason it's a problem here is we're a vacation destination. We're a destination where people come and we have big conferences. We have buyers in San Diego, people that are willing to buy sex from children, women, and men. And so, one of the facts that I think that kind of fuels this is that it's very lucrative business, illicit business. So sex trafficking, there was some research done with the University of Point Loma Nazarene University and USD in 2016, and what they found is that there's the annual revenue at that time that was estimated for sex trafficking. It was over $810 million. And so it's lucrative and low risk because most victims have been trained to not report what's going on with them. And so the risk is not to the traffickers or the buyers, the risk is to the victims. And so as a result of that it continues to thrive and grow. And just to put it into perspective, the last time the San Diego Padres were sold, they were sold for about $800 million. And so you can buy a professional baseball team with the money that's being fueled through this illicit. Yes. And so, okay, and then one of the horrible figures that I just always pray that this is not true, that there's an estimated 3,000 to 8,000 new victims of human trafficking each year in San Diego County alone. And this, if you look at data nationally on what gets reported, that does not align. And so that it's really hard to know this because it's very difficult to identify victims and because victims don't always report it. But this research, which was really interesting, interviewed traffickers, interviewed the perpetrators, and said to them, got this figure from them. So who would know better than those that are exploiting others? And then in that same research study, actually all high schools in San Diego County, from San Ysidro to up north, out east on the coast, were invited to participate in the survey. At the time, 20 of the high schools that participated in the survey identified that there was recruitment happening in their schools, and 18 of those high schools said there was documented cases. That has since been updated, and now it's in every school, which is scary. And I think that we think that certain communities and schools are safe, but the reality is that there's vulnerabilities everywhere. So often people, at least I didn't really understand what sex trafficking was when I was first involved in working with clients, but I wanted just to take a minute to identify the legal definition of sex trafficking. And so the legal definition is when sex trafficking occurs when sorry, I don't have my glasses. When someone uses force, fraud, or coercion to make another person engage in a commercial sex act. And a commercial sex act includes stripping, pornography, and prostitution done in exchange for something of value, usually money, sometimes drugs, and then oftentimes with our homeless youth, it's housing. And so anytime a minor's involved in a commercial sex act, it's automatically sex trafficking as they cannot consent. And so that's a lot of information. You guys doing okay? Yep. Okay. What makes somebody vulnerable? And I think that there is a lot of things that we know, that abuse and neglect history, foster care involvement, homelessness, poverty. I think that one of the things much people that are in poverty see this is the traffickers will say, this is a lucrative, legitimate way for you to build wealth, for you to have the things that you desire. And so they are particularly, when there is an opportunity, they see it as an opportunity. And so that's why there's kind of more vulnerability there. However, I think one of the things that we've learned recently, and as we interact with the community even more, just any young, vulnerable person, and most people that are young are vulnerable, who have unsupervised access to open internet are vulnerable. So anybody who has a cell phone that has open access. And the reason I say this, and it may seem exaggerated, but when the pandemic hit and children were all, like younger and younger children now had open access to tablets and Wi-Fi for school, they saw a huge increase in reports and calls to the Human Trafficking Task Force. And that was because traffickers now were saying the younger ones are the most vulnerable. And so now younger children are now a target. And so what we see happening is since then, the average age used to be about 16 years old. What we're seeing is that that's dropping between 12 and 14 years of age. And so I say that, and I'll give you some hope at the end on what we can do about that. But a little bit about who we are. Some of you know we're Generate Hope. Started as a faith-based organization. Actually, we started as a ministry. We still are a faith-based organization. that provides short and long-term restorative care programs for survivors of sex trafficking. So now I'm doing it in my own words. And what that means is that our mission is to empower survivors through our programs to heal from the trauma of being trafficked, to become self-sufficient, and develop the life skills they need so they can just walk boldly into the future and regain what was stolen from them, which is their lives and their future when they were trafficked. Our vision is bold, and we are super excited, and today you're helping us with that vision, is that we want to be part of eradicating this. And so the more that we feel uncomfortable and we speak to groups like all of you, the more people understand what's happening and we can shine a light on it. Because that's how it's been allowed to perpetuate, is in darkness and with misunderstandings. And so the more of us that know about it, the more that we can protect our community, the young people around us, and we can share with our friends what we've learned today. And so we want to be part of eradicating human trafficking, but even more important, I think everyone agrees that law enforcement, so many of us want to rescue those that are enslaved in human trafficking. And you can rescue them, but if you don't provide support, they cannot function in the way that they should, and they will not regain their lives back. The trauma, families don't know what to do, children don't know how to help themselves, and we see the trauma perpetuate in our communities. And so it's really important for us is not only do we want to end it, we want to make sure that every person that's been impacted by it gets an opportunity to have their lives restored. So that's a little bit about who we are. Our core values continue to be, we are a Christ-centered organization. It's at the heart of why we have our organization. We believe in holistic care, so we know that healing happens and trauma happens in mind, body, and spirit, so healing has to happen there as well. And we believe in integrity, so we implement our programs in a trauma-informed way. We're always looking at best practices, and we're also very accountable to the community and steward those responsibility very, very seriously. Collaboration, it takes a village, it takes a whole community to do this work, and so we are excited about our collaboration and our partnership, and the partnerships that we have with law enforcement and district attorney's office and community organizations. And Generate Hope is a leader. We're a young organization relatively. We've only been operating since 2009, and we are one of the most senior organizations doing this work. So it's a new field, so we feel a great deal of responsibility of sharing what we've learned and how in the years, because we have made many mistakes and we don't want others to make mistakes, but we also, I'm going to take a minute to brag. We went through Safe House certification a year and a half ago, and this is a new certification. And our Generate Hope programs were scrutinized, everything from our services to our facilities to our fiscal practices. And we were the only, the first and only, I don't know if there's more now, organization to receive gold status here in San Diego, the only organization and the first to receive gold status in Colorado, and one of 8 organizations to have that status across the country. So we're very proud of that, and that just speaks to what we do and how we do it with intention and quality. I call it the Generate Hope way. Our story is a little bit of history. So I talked about 2009. Our founder, Susan Muncie, many of you may know her. She is just an amazing woman who herself was a victim of human trafficking, sex trafficking when she was a teenager. And so she, as an adult, she was a licensed clinical social worker and said, I'm going to volunteer and help this population. And she volunteered all right, and she founded our organization. And so we started with one home, and then the opportunity here, which is a real miracle. And I want to share, because you guys are from Coronado, you especially might be interested in this. How did we end up in Coronado? Do many of you know that story? You probably know pieces of that story. I know one person who knows that story really well. Yeah, so we were we're operating one program. And so there was a house for sale, a famous house, the Hanson Mansion. Okay, and our donor went to see the home, and he was like, why would I buy this huge home? Like, what would I do with it? And then next day was mentoring a local Navy SEAL who said, you know, I've been hurt, I'm gonna be discharged for medical reasons, and I wanna help survivors of sex trafficking. So he goes, oh, you do? Okay. So then the next day he said, let's meet at this address, 711 A Avenue. And they met there, and he goes, I'm gonna buy this house, so you can do just that. And so that is the miracle. And then of course he healed, and what did the Navy say? We paid to train you, you're coming back on active duty. Connected with us, and that's how we began to open our program there. And one of the things, if some of you know who our donor is, they don't like to be like outed, but Ed. No, just kidding. Anyways, Ed was just an amazing man who was very direct. He said to us his vision was that it be a finishing school for these women. So we call it guided independence, not a finishing school. And the women that come to the home actually have already completed their initial healing. And so by the time they move to the home here, they're reintegrating back into community. And they're continuing to work and go to school and test their independence in a safe place, in a safe community around all of you that have wrapped around them. So I know I'm running out of time, I'm gonna go quicker. We also in 2020 launched a program in Colorado, duplicating the efforts that we were doing here. That's another miracle in itself. And this year, we are growing our services in two ways. One is we want to continue to support women as they transition out, to ensure that they don't lose track of their goals and continue to be on a track of self-sufficiency. But we also want to serve women that it's not appropriate to come in our program because maybe they're mothers or we don't have enough space. So we're wrapping around and providing services for women in the same way that are in community. Our future goal is to be able to work with women, to work with youth in their recovery, but we just are working on that. It's going to take a few years. I thought it would be open already, but excited about that. So why do we do this? Other than people that are victimized deserve to have their lives restored, there's also an economic reason that makes sense too. And women who've been trafficked who don't go through restorative care programs pose a cost, a public charge. And it's about $2 million in their lifetime. And so that includes coming in and out of institutions, hospitals, prisons, and there's also the generational trauma that happens. They have children and the cycle repeats itself. And so the cost of restoration, if we don't do this work, is a financial and not just kind of a social piece. And so for every $1 that you invest in programs like ours, there's a $3 to $7 return on investment. And lives are changed, and these women then are productive citizens who are paying taxes and working in the businesses. So just wanted to share that. Next slide. I shared what we're doing about it. We're providing our long-term restorative care programs. And let's skip that one. Want to show you the homes where the services take place. So we have 3 homes. This is Susan's house. This is also in San Diego. Each of our houses are so unique. This was a boys' orphanage built in 1920, and so it's unique and it meets the needs. It has lots of bedrooms where we're able to provide our services. Next slide. These are the new restored bedrooms. As you can see, our focus is having beautiful spaces for healing to happen. Each woman gets their own room, which is really important. in their healing journey. And this was just we're showing off what we just upgraded right now. Next slide. Another bedroom. Next slide, please. Of course, this house you all know. So we call our program there Carol's Cottage. Each of our homes at Susan's house, Carol's Cottage, and then Rachel's Ranch. And yeah, we can flip through to the end. Keep going. Yeah, so we have, that's our home in Colorado. Next slide. So now that you know what you know, which you've already probably heard some of this, we ask you to do a couple things. Protect the children in your life, learn more, share with parents. If you're grandparents, share with your grandchildren. Continue to be part of championing anti-trafficking efforts. There's opportunities for you to be involved with Generate Hope. There's opportunities for you to educate your businesses and groups, and we're happy to partner with you in that. And so to learn more about what we do or to get involved, please go to our website. And then one last slide. I know that your event's going to be September 6th, super excited, but we are also having an event, The Legacy of Life, and we invite you guys to learn more about that. September 26th, 7th, sorry, oops. Don't show up the wrong day. So yeah, any questions? I think I took up too much time. Yeah.
So you are a 501c3?
We are.
Okay, so I'll make a commitment to donate $500 to you guys today.
Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that.
What safeguards do you currently have in place so that, because the sex traffickers don't give up? So what safeguards do you have for them?
So that's a great question. I think there's an assumption that the sex traffickers are going to chase the women exiting the life. And the reality is that they're grooming younger and newer victims. And so when someone escapes, and the reason it's so lucrative is because they don't want to take a risk to get arrested. And so they do not chase after the women once they're connected to an organization or in with law enforcement. They're already recruiting the next victim.
Are you associated at all with Casa de Amparo?
We work with and we partner with them, yes.
Okay. And the last question is, in regard to foster youth.
Yes.
More and more foster youth are being groomed.
Yes.
By people they trust and being sex trafficked.
Correct.
And the safeguards seem to not be as intense as they should be.
I agree. That's why I'm working with a few local organizations, the county, and the trafficking task force to work on youth development programs, how to protect our youth more, and also how to serve the youth. Because that's where I started working in foster care group homes, and I still hear horrible stories about traffickers going and recruiting in those homes.
Annie, over here.
Yes, ma'am. I wondered, how long is your program? In other words, when you get a young girl, 12, how long are they able to stay in your care in these beautiful facilities?
Yeah, so right now we work with, just to clarify, adult women. So by the time they come to us, they're 17 and a half or 18 and over. We're going to start working with youth, but it's difficult to get the right credential and licensing to do that, which we're working on. But our program is a 2-year program, so they stay up to 2 years.
Thank you.
Annie, sorry, at the alternate meeting, you did a great job of describing how some of these women actually get to be sex trafficked, and I thought it was really enlightening because I think a lot of us maybe think about it a little bit differently. Could you just maybe give an example or two?
Yeah, so I was going to tell a story and ran out of time, sorry. But yeah, so we have different ways that they're recruited, but mostly through social media. And so we have gals that will get recruited through dating apps, through gaming apps. They'll be boyfriended into the life, and they're told, do this thing just this one time so that we can make a life together. And then they're sold for sex, and that's when the abuse comes in. That's when the sextortion and the threats of violence against their families come in, and that's what keeps them trapped in the life.
So Annie, my sister, this is not a question. My sister-in-law lives next door to Generation Hope, to this facility. And she's an older person, and she was a bit wary in the beginning. They have been the most wonderful neighbors. Just so you know, this organization is, it's a caring, wonderful community that any of us would love to have close by. So the business of the sex trafficking thing is sort of a distant thing in these women's lives, I think.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. My question is there any involvement of young men in this?
Good question.
In this awful part of our society?
So
certainly women are more victimized, but what are we doing for the young men who are being victimized?
Yes, so I think that's a great question, and there are not enough services for either young men, young women, adult men, adult women. There are some programs that specialize because it's very different, the trauma in men, than it is to women. Men don't want to talk about it. Boys are very externalize kind of what that looks like. But there are two organizations in San Diego that I know about that work and focus primarily with male victims, youth and men. But oftentimes I'm seeing more and more sextortion online into trafficking through the gaming apps, and the trauma is just as bad.
I just wanted to jump on the comment about being a good neighbor. You guys are absolutely wonderful. I live, I think, 3 doors down. I lost my cat once, and I put out flyers in the neighborhood, and one of the gals that lives there, she kept the flyer for a month, found my cat, and returned her. So just, you guys have been a wonderful addition to Coronado, so thank you guys.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, we had a resident who wasn't working, and so she would go and just mow the neighbor's lawn every day. Or not every day, but when it was needed. And so they've been great neighbors, our neighbors, we just love them, and we just appreciate how you've wrapped around and supported us.
I'm not sure if you got time to answer this, but I've heard the presentation from the FBI on human trafficking and sex trafficking and the steps that they take. And so I'm trying to map in my mind the process that goes from the law enforcement portion, when all of a sudden these victims are available, I guess, for some, and it sounds like they go through several levels before they get to you. Can you explain what the pathway is?
Yeah, so it is a bumpy pathway, and so they get recovered from the FBI or law enforcement. That's their job. They will then go into, if their children will first have to go back home or go to the county as a charge of the county before that they can then be placed. But for us, that we work with adults, so it'll usually be they're recovered, they go into some type of emergency shelter program, become stabilized enough to enter one of our homes. They would enter our other home first through a referral. So we get referrals from the sheriff's department, from the task force, from the district attorney's office, and the FBI. So they'll say, we have recovered somebody, can you assess and see if they might be a good fit for your program? So we either, if we don't have space or we can't serve them, then we work with statewide and national partners to place them in homes that meet their specific needs. And then they remain in those programs for the duration or however long they want to be there. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you receive any state or federal funding to help support your organization?
That's a great question. So there is very little to no state and federal funding specifically targeted to support this population. And so although there's a tiny bit that comes through like the victims of crime, most of our funding is privately, through private fundraising, through philanthropic groups, donors, fundraising efforts. And our program is free of charge.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annie. I know it's a heavy topic, but I think you're right. I mean, we're here to learn things about our community, and this is part of our community, and it's important to talk about it. So talk to your kids, your grandkids, and make sure this doesn't keep happening. So thank you. So next week we are hearing from a very rare chance to hear from Ambassador Gaddy Vasquez on soft power, global trust, and America's future. And Jacqueline Trapp helped me get him here, and it's going to be very exciting. So read the bio that goes out, and everyone have a great rest of your day, and stay cool out there because it's a nice summer day. All right.